Divyanshu.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, I can hear you. Sir, am I both visible and audible to you as well?
Yes, you are.
Thank you, sir.
Would you quickly walk through a door of your room so that we can see you?
Sorry, sir.
Is it possible for you to walk into your room through a door?
Sure. Yes, sir.
I hope you not have any earplugs in your ears.
No, sir. No, sir. Nothing like that.
Okay. So turn the camera towards the door and walk in, please. As you would on the criminal day. Okay.
Sure, sir. Sir, can you see the door?
Go out of the door
Sure,
and
sir.
then walk in.
May I come in, sir?
Please do, Divyanshu, come in. Come in.
Okay, sir. Good afternoon, sir.
So there's a small thing. You will first wish and then wait.
Take the seat. Yes, sir.
Wait till you are asked to be seated.
Yes,
Don't
sir.
come and sit down and then wish. Because even otherwise, you're not expected to sit down in any social interaction till you are asked to sit down. Okay?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Definitely.
So remember that. And we will talk about your clothes towards the end of the interview. So please introduce yourself. There's a lot of echo from your.
Sir, is everything fine now?
Yes, better.
Okay, thank you, sir. Sir, my name is Divyanshu Chaudhary. I belong to the Jaipur city of Rajasthan. I have done my schooling from St. Anselm's, graduation from BITS Pilani in electrical and electronics, and MBA from IIM Calcutta. After that, I worked for a year in HSBC Bank Mumbai as well. And since then, I have been preparing for UPSC Civil Services exam. And my hobbies include quizzing, writing Hindi stories, reading books, particularly biographies, and an interest in Indian mythology as well.
Oh, wonderful. You have very impressive set of hobbies and extracurricular activities. But your subject in the exam was mathematics.
Yes, sir.
Okay, that makes it even more interesting. Do you specialize in any particular area of quizzing or you quiz in general?
Sir, it's general quizzing only because after I went to college, all the quizzes which were held were of general nature only. So there was no specialized area per se.
Okay, who is the actor who is presently, playing the role of James Bond?
Daniel Craig is the actor, sir.
And can you tell me names of 5 actors who have played the role of James Bond?
Sir, Daniel Craig and Pierce Brosnan are the only 2 names which I can recall right now.
Because they are contemporaries. You have seen
Yes,
them.
sir.
You have not heard of Sean Connery, the James Bond of all times.
Yes, sir. But I was not able to recall his name right now at this moment.
Yeah. Sean Connery, George Lazenby, then what was the British actor's name? Roger Moore.
Roger Moore, yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And there is an Indian actor who played a villain in a certain James Bond film. Do you know who?
So can you please repeat that question?
Hello. There is an Indian actor who played the role of the villain in a James Bond movie.
No, sir. I do not recall his name right now.
Okay. So, and are you aware of a James Bond film which was shot in India?
Yes, sir. There was the film of, it was of Daniel Craig only. but I do not remember which film exactly was it. I think it was the film which was two films before the coming one, which is No Time to Die.
Okay. And what was the backdrop? Where was the film shot? Location?
So maybe it was Mumbai, but I cannot recall at this point of time.
It was your state. It was shot in Udaipur and also Jaipur. Okay.
Okay, thank you for the information, sir.
No problem. So, do you know the name of the present wicket keeper of New Zealand?
Sir Watling, BJ Watling is his name.
Wonderful. You write Hindi short stories, is that right?
Yes, sir.
What is the theme of your stories?
Sir, mostly my stories are inspired from social issues, as I am an avid reader of writers like Premchand and Bhishma Sahni. So one of my stories was also published in a regional newspaper, and it centered around the themes of corruption and the problems of old age people. So broadly, these are the themes that I try to cover in my stories.
How many stories have you written?
Sir, during the UPSC time, it has reduced quite a bit. But before that, I had written quite a number of stories, around 20.
Around 20 stories you have written.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Wonderful, wonderful. And which is the last biography you have read?
So the last biography I read was of Abhinav Bindra. My shot at history, my obsessive journey with the Olympic gold.
Okay. And what other biographies have you written? Have you read?
Sir, I recently also read the autobiography of Milkha Singh, and at the same time, since I like reading the biographies of Indian sports persons, I've also read biographies of Yuvraj Singh, and at the same time, Mahatma Gandhi's autobiography also inspires me a lot.
Mahatma Gandhi's biography written by whom?
Autobiography.
Autobiography.
Yes, sir.
The truth. Or
yes,
did you read the Hindi translation?
Sir, I read the English translation.
English translation. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, can you tell me briefly about Mahatma Gandhi's life in South Africa?
Sir, Mahatma Gandhi visited South Africa for pursuing the case of Dada Abdullah. And on reaching there, he faced racial discrimination as well. He was thrown from the train at the Pittsburgh station. And at the same time, also, he intervened in various things. For example, he established Natal Indian Congress so as to combat with the aggressive rules that were prevalent against the Indians and the people present there. At the same time, he also organized the Passive Resistance Association, and his practice of satyagraha started from South Africa itself, and that's what his journey in South Africa comprises of.
It was divided, his stay in South Africa was divided into two parts.
Yes, sir.
He came back and then he came back to India and then again went back.
Yes, sir.
Do you know the reason why he went back?
Sir, he had gone back so that he can mobilize some resistance in India for the cause of South Africa. So, for example, when he came back for first time from South Africa, he met various eminent personalities like Gopal Krishna Gokhale, Bal Gangadhar Tilak, etc., so that he can develop a public opinion about the racial discrimination happening in South Africa against the people there. So this was his prime motto why he came back.
No, he came back to India, but then he again went back to South Africa.
Yes, sir. Sir, yes, sir.
So
there was some work which was remaining there. For example, he had to lead the movement which was already present there, and Dada Abdullah was also one of the founding members of the trust that had been established there in his name. So he went there to finish off his work related to whatever he was following regarding the discrimination policies.
So since you are fond of quizzing, Do you remember the name of the house where Mahatma Gandhi lived in South Africa, in Natal?
Sir, it was based on Leo Tolstoy's farm, but I'm not remembering the exact name.
No, Leo Tolstoy farm came much later. It was much earlier that he lived in a house. Anyhow, and Indian mythology, what kind of books do you read?
Sir, I am very fond of the epics, particularly Ramayana and Mahabharata. Mahabharata interests me a lot. And apart from that, I also prefer reading the mythological fiction, which various Indian writers cater to these days. So both the actual mythology and the mythological fiction relate to my interest.
So, who are the authors have you read?
Sir, I have read Amish Tripathi, Ashwin Sanghi, Chitra Divakurni, who had written The Palace of Illusions. So these are the writers that I look forward to and have read.
Not Devdutt Patnaik.
No, sir, I haven't read his works actually.
Okay. So the books that the authors you have mentioned, they will give you a very, shall we say, warped up idea of the Indian mythology. I mean, they twist the facts and figures and everything to.
Yes, sir.
So very good, Mr. Rai.
Thank you, sir. Hello, Divyanshu.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. Tell me, in Indian mythology, to which era did Ram belong?
Sir, Ram belonged to Treta Yuga, and it dated to the Ramayana dated to around 5000 BC as to when it happened.
Okay, a very a question that I would like, maybe you can expect from the board, is that you mentioned mythology and mythology fiction. Is not all mythology a fiction?
Sir, this has been a contentious issue for a long period of time. It mostly matters on the belief of a person whether it is fiction or not. But if we particularly talk about some epics, for example, Mahabharata, the Mahabharata war did take place in 3167 BC. For example, we do have certain proofs like astronomical dating and dating of equinoxes, by which the war did happen has been proven. But at the same time, the presence of gods and characters like Krishna, Rama, and their mortality is still being challenged. So the present situation caters to the fact that the research is still going on, and we should look forward to getting more and more details about whether it was actually a mythology or did it happen in the history.
Why did you put IFS option at number 5? Not impressed with their mythology?
Sir, it was pure. Sorry. Sir, it was purely based on personal reasons because since I am the only child, so I wanted to remain in India for my parents.
Okay. But I suggest that in the course of the interview for the UPSC, you adduce some other reasons as well. I don't think it is good enough to say that, see, after all, you put IFS at number 5. So what is the possibility of not getting it? In a remote possibility that you are offered IFS, what would you do?
Yes, sir, definitely.
Why can't you be more honest and say not opted? I mean, I'm just giving you various possibilities of questions that could arise.
Yes, sir.
So now, tell me, what is the manifestation of religious harmony in Rajasthan? How does it manifest itself? Religious harmony. It's a hallmark of the state. How is it manifested?
Sir, religious harmony in Rajasthan is manifested in various ways. For example, since I belong to the city of Jaipur, we have a famous Birla temple, Birla Mandir here. In that, there are 3 domes which represent Hindu, Muslim, and Sikh ideologies. So that is one of the fine examples that represents the religious harmony. At the same time, Rajasthan also has a lot of festivals, and at the same time it also has a lot of cultural history related to all the religions which have coexisted simultaneously and lived peacefully throughout. For example, if we talk about Sawai Jai Singh II, the founder of Jaipur, he established Muhammad Jid Shahi, or the observatory, which were present during the Mughal times, and he was also a collaborator with the Mughal kingdom. So in this way, the religious harmony has existed in Rajasthan right from past to present as
well. In that, okay, I'll leave that question. I'll put some other question to you. What was the name of the charioteer of Surya Bhagwan? Who was his charioteer? The Rath kaun chalata tha? Just a question. It's not very, but just to,
sir, I am not able to recall that right now.
Doesn't matter. Achha, this you should know. From where, when Ram was exiled to 14 years of Vanvas, from where did Bharat rule? Which place?
Sir, he ruled from a small hermit which was close to the Saryu Nadi, and he did his tapasya there only, and that was the place from which he ruled the city.
Name of the place?
Sir, that I am not able to recall.
It was Nandigram. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Name of Arjun, conch, Arjun ke shankh ka kya naam tha? What was the name of the conch of Arjun? I'm just quizzing you so that.
Sir, I actually remembered it, but right now I'm not able to recall.
Devdutt.
Yes, sir.
Achha, okay. Now we'll come to some more mundane questions. See, one more question on this. What was the scope of punishment in Hindu or Muslim mythology? Scope and scope and modes of punishment. What was the punishment that would befall a person who was committing a sin in Hindu mythology and in Muslim mythology, Islamic mythology?
Sir, the modes of punishment varied in both these segments. In my opinion, the modes of punishment were harsher when we talk about the Muslim mythology, as they had various issues. Like, for example, they used to cut off the hand or leg, or used to go for harsher modes of punishment than the Hindu mythology. In Hindu mythology, majority of the punishments were related to removing, like for example, Ram went away for 14 years of exile. Similarly, Arjun during his penance went away for a year to do his penance. So this was one of the prime difference between Hindu and Muslim mythology when it comes to the modes of punishment.
Similarly, in the Buddhist mythology, what would be the scope of punishment? Considering that it's a non-violent sort of outlook.
Yes, sir. Sir, maybe doing self-penance and just removing yourself from the society and trying to get that feeling of sorry from inside would be a better way in Buddhist mythology.
But would the society impose upon you a punishment if you went wrong or if you strayed from the normal behavior?
Sir, this society can also impose it, but it should come from within. That's the first thing. And also, if we talk about Buddhism, there were various penances which were issued by the Sangha, which were established by Buddha. And whenever there was a folly committed, the penance was issued by the Sangha to the monk that you should do this. So I think the Sangha and the self motivation to do the penance is the core thing of Buddhist mythology.
Okay, Divyanshu, I will now ask you a very small question on again on mythology. Tell me the names of one prominent personality in all these major religions, Hindu, Muslim, Buddhist, Jain and Christian, not their founders, anyone other than the founders.
Sir, in Sir, can you please elaborate a bit more on what does the founders mean? Yeah.
No, founder, I mean, for instance, don't name the founder of Jainism or Buddhism. Hinduism, of course, there is no this thing. But otherwise,
Yes, sir.
any prominent character.
Sure, sir. Sir, in Jainism, we can say Adinath and Rishabhnath. In Buddhism, Dipankar or Avalokiteshvara, these were the manifestations of Buddha. Then in Hindu mythology, there are various characters. My favorite character being Karna from Mahabharata, so I would like to name him. And in Islam, there can be the grandsons of Prophet Muhammad, due to which that war was fought. I'm not able to remember his name, but he can be one of the characters.
Okay, now two very small questions from you. One is, of course, on corruption. You've written on corruption. What is
Yes,
the
sir.
main source of corruption in India? Main source that if you handle that or address that, corruption is up.
Sir, in my opinion, the main source of corruption is information asymmetry. That is because those in power would like to exercise their power so as to for their selfish interests to gain more and more money. So that information asymmetry between those in power and those not in power is the main reason for corruption. And if we are able to remove that via things like digitization or initiatives like Right to Information Act, in which more and more disclosure can be given, the corruption will definitely take a backseat.
How effective is the Whistleblowers Act?
Sir, the Whistleblowers Act is definitely a good initiative when it comes to removing corruption. So it has a good number of points within it. For example, the safety is being given to the whistleblower. At the same time, the anonymity is also maintained, and full protection is given. But there are also some issues with Whistleblower Act. For example, the penalty for a wrong petition which is given is very high, which can definitely disregard a person from going forward. And at the same time, there is also threat of protection from various other agencies. So I think if these can be removed, Whistleblower Act can definitely go a long run in curbing corruption.
Have you read through the second ARC report, Administrative Reforms Commission?
Sir, I have not read the full report, but yes, sir, some recommendations.
So I can ask you a question on that?
Yes, sir, sure.
Okay. Two questions. One, what do they have to say on the code of ethics? Do we have a code of ethics in India?
Sir, we do not have a code of ethics particularly outlined, but we do have a code of conduct present. And the code of ethics, as per the ARC report, it suggests that it should cater to the various the issues of transparency, responsibility, and accountability of civil servants towards the citizens. And at the same time, it should be a self-evolving process, because code of ethics is generally subjective, and it does not have objective guidelines written to it. So these are the core things about the code of ethics.
Okay, on the same note, please tell me, on the second ARC report, they have said something about the failure of the Citizens Charter. What is it?
Sir, a citizen charter is a document that is being given by an organization that represents the core values of that organization in terms of its commitments, towards service delivery, grievance redressal mechanism, etc. So, but there are some issues which the citizen charter faces, because of which it is not being able to develop fully. For example, firstly, the funding is not that wide for citizen charter. Secondly, most citizen charters are outdated. There is no mechanism to self-evolve them and make them more and more dynamic towards the society. And thirdly, the citizen charters are mostly follow bottom to top to bottom approach rather than bottom to up approach, because of which it merely caters to following the guidelines which are written in the citizen charters rather than implementing them in spirit as well. So these are some of the core issues of citizen charters.
Why has it failed?
Sir, the reasons that I mentioned before, firstly, there has not been much funding for it. Secondly, it is not self-evolving.
I got the point.
Yes,
I got
sir.
the point. There is one
Yes,
thing that you missed out. I'll come to it when we are reviewing your performance. Okay.
Sure.
One very important point. Okay. Now my last question to you, rather semi-last. What is the difference between electricals and electronics?
Sir, electrical engineering caters to the flow of electrons, particularly in conductors, and electronics engineering caters to the flow of electrons, particularly in semiconductors. This is the major difference. Apart from that, electrical caters to the macro analysis and electronics caters to micro analysis. So electrical caters to high power and low frequency operations, and electronics caters to low power but high frequency operations.
Okay. This will be my, I assure you, this will be my last question.
Sure.
And this is what, see, it's not exactly a question, but I would like you to frame this a good response to it, because it's a very likely question that may come to you from the board. You've done BE, electricals and electronics. From there, you ventured out to, not exactly ventured out, but you slightly drifted to maths. You focused on maths. And
Yes,
now
sir.
through maths, you wish to become a civil servant. Now, what all have you gathered during the course of this journey towards civil services that you would say that the board should keep in mind while recommending or while assessing your performance as a candidate?
Sir, is this in reference to the subject of maths which is being taken, or a general?
What has it? How has it equipped you? How has it enthused, and how has it strengthened your resolve and the things that a good civil servant should possess? How have you come to acquire during this journey?
Sir, during the civil services journey and also before that, during my graduation and post-graduation, I have acquired a certain set of skills which I believe will be beneficial to me in administration. For example, during my post-graduation, due to various internships and live projects, I was able to demonstrate skills like leadership, stress management, adherence to deadlines, team dynamics, etc., which I believe will be definitely beneficial in the longer run. And also during my civil services preparation, since I opted for maths, I have been studying the uses of maths in administration. So various uses, for example, by doing regression analysis for census in terms of birth and death rates, or we can also go for optimization of resources, particularly in this COVID time, when logistics supplies a huge initiative which should be taken. Maths can definitely go a long run in solving these problems. So I believe these skills are definitely beneficial for me in the long run.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Unmute कीजिए.
Good afternoon, Divyanshu.
Good afternoon, sir.
You had a very high score of 99.98 percentile in CAT.
Yes, sir.
So why do we call it percentile and not percentage?
Sir, we call it percentile because it is based on the number of students who appear in the exam. So 99.98 percentile represents that I was ahead of those number of candidates, and I was behind 0.02% of candidates who appeared for the exam.
Right. You mentioned Bhishma Sahni.
Yes, sir.
And there was a very famous TV serial in which, based on his novel, and he acted in that. You are aware?
Sir, I have seen some movies, but TV serial I'm not able to recall. I have seen movies like Tamas and Mohan Joshi Hazir Ho.
Tamas
And
was
Mr. and Mrs.
basically a
Iyer.
serial. Tamas was
Yes.
basically a serial.
Okay, sir.
Later
Yes,
on, it became a movie.
Yes, sir, I
Basically,
saw the
it was a
movie
serial.
actually.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, sir.
You worked in HSBC.
Yes, sir.
Now there is another bank like international bank, Citibank.
Yes, sir.
Citibank pioneered retail banking in India, and now they are moving out of retail banking in India, not everywhere, but in India. What is the
Yes, sir.
reason?
So the only reason I can think of is profitability is not being ensured to Citibank, but I'm not aware about the any other nuances for this topic.
Okay. Government these days is laying a lot of emphasis on infrastructure development.
Yes, sir.
One thing is, of course, that we need good infrastructure. But what can be the other reason?
Sir, infrastructure development is definitely a bigger thing in government's plans right now. And some of the reasons why we need to build infrastructure is firstly, it would reduce the logistics cost, which will definitely go a long run in improving ease of doing business for all the investors in India and for outside as well. Also at the same time, good infrastructure will promote better investment and consumption expenditure. So I think these are major issues because of which infrastructure investment will lead to a better India.
Okay. You mentioned about ease of doing business. What is this ease of doing business?
Sir, ease of doing business refers to the easiness when it comes to catering to the business operations. For example, if we talk about any business cycle, there are various aspects as to the financing, the operation, the marketing aspects of it. So removing the hurdles when it comes to each and every segment of business and fast forwarding it refers to ease of doing business.
Can you describe in one sentence ease of doing business?
So removing regulatory hurdles to fasten the process of business.
Okay. Now, where do we rank?
Sir, right now we rank at 63rd position in World Bank's Ease of Doing Business Index. And we have definitely prospered from 77th to 63rd. So that's a jump of 14 ranks.
So prior to 77, where were we?
Sir, I think we were around 80. So, but in the last 4 or 5 years, we have definitely had a long jump.
We are a poor country, but at the same time, gold holding in our country is the highest, I think, second to China only. Why so?
Sir, sorry, can you please repeat the first part of the question? I missed that.
We are a very poor country, but at the
Yes,
same
sir.
time, when it comes to the holding of gold by public,
Yes, sir.
it happens to be only next to China. What is the reason? And does it affect us adversely?
Sir, the reason lies in the beliefs of Indian families. For example, gold is considered to be an auspicious metal and it's used in various occasions. For example, during marriages, specifically for giving dowry and other purposes. So for a normal middle class family, gold appears to be an instrument of investment because of which they can basically in future cater to various users of theirs. So this is the major reason why gold is we rank at number 2 when it comes to gold. And yes, sir, it definitely hampers our growth because just holding on to gold doesn't lead us to more investment. So, for example, schemes of RBI like sovereign gold bonds, and so that these gold bonds can be given out as bonds. So these gold can be given out as bonds, so as to extract more and more money and bring more money into the economy, will definitely help us in the long run.
Many schemes have come for people to invest their gold.
Yes,
What is
sir.
lying with them, but somehow they don't take off. What can be the reason?
Sir, one reason can be that they do not trust these schemes. That's the first one. Second, in schemes like sovereign gold bonds, there is a provision of melting the gold and giving the price as per the market rates. This market rate is subject to inflation and various other parameters in the long run. So people believe that they will not fetch a good rate for the gold that they possess, and that's why they are not going to go for these schemes.
Now, World Bank classifies countries according to their per capita income,
Yes, sir.
as low income, lower middle, upper middle, and
Middle
high
and-
income.
yes, sir.
So what is the basis of this? What exactly are the thresholds?
Sir, I am only aware of the per capita income factor only, so I do
Per
not know
capita
about
income is
any
okay.
other.
That I told you. That
Yes,
the
sir.
basis is per capita, but now there is a threshold. Up to this much per capita, we classify as lower. Beyond this, up to this lower middle. So, are you aware?
No, sir, I'm not aware about that.
Okay. Where do we stand? India,
Sir, we rank in the lower middle income category right now.
lower middle income. So, there is a term called middle income trap.
Yes, sir.
What is that?
Sir, middle income trap refers to the process where a country goes from the lower income to a middle income in a very fast way, but then it gets stuck there and it cannot move to the higher income part easily.
It
There can
cannot,
be,
or it is difficult.
it is difficult to move. Yes, sir. Sorry, sir.
Okay. Okay. But
Yes.
what can be the reason for this?
Sir, there can be some reasons. For example, if we talk about India itself, reaping the benefits of demographic dividend is getting difficult for us. So that is one of the reasons. Secondly, technological and labor prowess are definitely needed to go to the higher rung, and these are somewhat missing in the Indian economy right now. And thirdly, the current wave of anti-globalization is also hurting us when it comes to our strengths like service exports. So these are the core issues because of which we are not able to go to the higher rung.
No, I was asking most of the countries, they find it difficult, and there are some economic reasons behind it. I was not referring particularly to India as such.
Okay, yes, sir.
Anyway, has any country been able to break this trap and move to higher income category?
Sir, there have been countries and I have actually read about them, but I'm not able to recall the names right now.
Okay, fine. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
So your interview is over. Now we'll start with the feedback.
Sure, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Divyanshu, let's see. There were several. Your interview overall, I'm satisfied. That having said that, there were several areas in which you really excelled. I'm impressed by the way you responded, especially the way you took some time to receive the question. That is remarkable, and maintain that. It will reap you dividends. The way
Sure,
you
thank you,
receive
sir.
the question and the way before you respond, I suppose you were thinking about how to respond, and that is very important. Because no matter how much you know, if you're not able to articulate, if you're not able to put across your point before the board, all your knowledge goes waste, and your knowledge
Yes,
in
sir.
any case has been tested. That is why deliberately I put both very small questions, objective as well as subjective questions to you. Objective, I did not expect to get answers. I mean, like the name of the conch of
Arjun.
yeah, of Arjun. Those
Yes.
things I didn't really expect an answer. I was just seeing how you respond to a not knowing of a question. That is
Sure,
what I
sir.
was testing. That is one. But now, having said so, now let me come to the areas of some minor concern to me during the course of your interview. On the Mahabharata, you mentioned several ways by which we have been able to identify the locations and the actual happenings during the Mahabharata, but you
Yes, sir.
failed to mention the archaeological evidences.
Yes, sir.
That is as important because that is what corroborates our information on Mahabharat archaeological fact. So that is one. Anyway, that then on Jaipur, on the manifestations of religious harmony, how it has got assimilated. You did mention all the correct ones, but I thought you could also have mentioned, or you may like to mention if a question to you comes like that, on cuisine. How it has
Cuisine, yes, sir.
assimilated. See how the non-vegetarian cuisine has found its way. Lal Mas. It has found its way
yes,
to
sir.
Hindu. It has found its way to Hindu kitchen as well. I mean, that,
Yes, sir.
but that apart, even dal bati has found its way. So that is another area of, that is one. Then the architecture. Then the architecture, the forms of architecture that it has undergone, it has transformed in many ways in many areas in Rajasthan. That perhaps could also you can mention.
Yes, sir.
The artisans,
Definitely.
irrespective of which religious faith they belong to, but the way they have put up the structures, I mean, that is another case of. Then the dress, the local workmanship in the dress. These areas
Yes,
you
sir.
can also, so it will show, apart from the macro factors that you mentioned, that would be pan-India, that would be the case. Some micro things as well, like cuisine and all, would, it will give a touch that you belong to Rajasthan, to Jaipur, and this is how you observe. That is one. My last point on this is, see, on corruption, I would also like you to mention, apart from those that you did, of asymmetry in information sharing, I would also like you to mention the rates of conviction, which is abysmally low.
Yes, sir.
In corruption, in cases of corruption, and legal recourses that it has provided to people to get away with cases of corruption.
Loopholes are there. Yes, sir.
Because the onus lies on the state to prove an act of corruption. So it is very easy to get away. So the percentage of corruption you can perhaps mention in your answer. It will give a wholesome, shade to your answer. On the,
sure.
Otherwise, very well done. So I was impressed. I was overall impressed.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Arvind Mohan.
Okay. Yes, Himanshu, you had good knowledge, and you were able to articulate your views also. Some things they were missing. There is not a big problem because you cannot be knowing everything. Just I would like to add to in respect of my questions which I asked you.
Yes, sir.
For example, when I said infra development, a lot of emphasis is coming. Yes, of course, we need good infra and it will support all what you were saying. But at the same time, we need something to generate employment right now.
Yes.
Okay. And the stress that we see right now is basically because people are not, construction happened to be the biggest employer. And construction activity has gone down due to real estate not working properly. So government has to step in to do something so that people find employment there.
Yes,
so that was the major reason why government is pushing on this. Then gold holdings, why it is not succeeding is because we have a sentimental value.
Yes, sir.
To the jewelry that we have, and people are not happy
to let go of it.
Yes, let go of it, as you rightly said. It is melted, and then after that sentimental value is lost.
Yes, sir.
Although intrinsic value remains the same. Fine. And regarding criteria, you can study that. Basically,
yes, sir. I will study that.
It is $2,000, $4,000, $8,000, and $12,000.
12,000.
Beyond $12,000 we say a country is rich.
Rich. Yes, sir.
Okay. And regarding ease of doing business, you mentioned about operational easiness of running a business. No. Ease of doing business completes the is consisting of the complete cycle of business.
Yes,
setting up of a business, running a business, and exiting a business.
Exiting the business also. Yes, sir.
So, in one sentence, it has to be ease of starting a business, running a business, and exiting a business.
Definitely, sir.
Fine. So
Yes, sir.
you were focusing only on operational aspect. So ease of doing
Sure, sir.
business consists of all the three, and we are still operational aspect is not working for us still.
Yes, sir.
Due to labor laws, contract laws, it's not working. So we have to pick up. But when
Definitely,
I
sir.
asked you the ranking, actually we were much above 100.
Yes, sir. 63rd.
No, 63rd we came now, but our position earlier
Yes, sir.
was 140 plus.
Yes, sir.
So we
Actually,
have
only from the last 3 years we have been down to 80. Before that, we were 142 or something. Yes, sir.
yes.
Yes,
So that was what I was asking when by how much we have moved.
yes, sir.
Okay. So that's all. Otherwise, you have done a good performance, and I think you just keep it up in your actual interview and taking care of small things. You should be doing well.
Thank you so much, sir.
So over to Chairman sir.
Yeah, so Divyanshu, how do you rate yourself on a scale of 10 in today's interview?
Sir, right now maybe around 7 to 7.5 because there are some minor issues that I need to take care of, as said by all the members.
Yeah, and I must say that I was very impressed with your quizzing and with your short stories and your reading and all those things. Just one or two small things. You said
Yes, sir.
Mahatma Gandhi was thrown out of the train in Pittsburgh. It was Peter Maritzburg.
Peter Maritzburg, yes, sir. Sorry, sir.
Pittsburgh is in US.
US.
Don't make that mistake.
Sir, actually, just at the moment I said it, I realized that I had said it wrong. So,
Yeah. So, and I think the movie in which there is an Indian actor playing the villain is Octopussy, where Kabir Bedi plays the villain, and there is Indian tennis player Vijay Amritraj, who also plays a small role there. So since the movie was largely shot at Udaipur, in the Lake Palace and in the Monsoon Palace,
yes, sir.
as a quizzing person, you should know these details.
Definitely, sir.
Otherwise, I think you did extremely well. If you have any questions to ask, you are most welcome to.
Sir, I just wanted to ask that one question about management. What, according to you, should I read for management? For example, for electrical and electronics, there are certain issues that the government also caters to for power reforms, and also I've read that. But for management, what will you infer?
I think Mr. Arvind Mohan will be able to.
Yes. When it
Yes,
comes
sir.
to management, you have to be aware of first thing leadership styles. What
Definitely,
style
sir.
suits you? Then team management, delegation and decision making. These are the aspects in which you can expect questions, and you have to be prepared on that.
Sure, sir. So the theories around these aspects will be my prime focus.
Yes. For example, management by objective.
Sure, sir.
You heard this term?
No, sir, I haven't. I will go research after you have told
Peter
me.
F. Drucker gave this concept that you have to tell the employee the objective. Once you make the objective clear, the employee will work much better in achieving that objective. Simply saying that you do this may not work. If you tell the employee that this is the objective we want to achieve, then the
Definitely,
performance
sir.
gets much better.
Much better.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Any other question, Divyanshu?
Sir, just one last question. According to you, what would you rate my performance as?
I don't want to give you a feeling of complacency, but your self-assessment is fairly accurate. Maybe I would rate you as 8, But
Sure, sir.
to repeat the same performance in the actual interview may not be that easy. So I would urge you not to lower your guard and become complacent. When is your
Definitely,
interview?
sir. Sir, it's on 2nd September.
2nd September. And of course, you will wear a suit to the interview.
Yes, sir, definitely.
A white shirt, a plain
Tie.
color tie, not a flashy tie.
Yes, sir.
Remember, you're not going to a party, so it cannot be with flowers and flashy colors and all that. So very
Yes,
plain tie, suit, and of course the drill I've told you how to walk in and etc.
yes,
And it will be fine. Remember, because you have given some hobbies and extracurricular activities, which opens a huge room for questions.
questions.
You are an ideal candidate for any interview board, because somebody will be fond of quizzing. He'll ask you many questions connected with trivia, like I started with James Bond. Somebody
Yes,
can
sir.
start with somebody. Then you are said writing stories. That again will lead to many questions. Reading books and biographies. So these are topics which will invite a lot of questions. Then
Sure, sir.
Indian mythology, you should be thorough with, because if you commit some silly mistake there, then you will lose marks.
Yes,
Just
sir.
like you said Pittsburgh instead of Peter Maritzburg,
Peter
that
Martin.
will go to your disadvantage.
Yes, sir.
So you be well prepared, and you should know the basic storyline of the epics, Ramayana, Mahabharata. Certain, because you're also fond of quizzing, there can be questions like were asked by Mr. Rajiv Rai on the conch shell and who was the charioteer and which are the excavation sites, and all
Yes,
those
sir.
things can be asked. Okay. Otherwise, you're
Definitely.
fine. Okay. All the best to
Sure.
you. Bye. God bless
Thank you, sir. Thank you so
To
much.
the best,
Thank you.
Divyanshu.
Okay.
Thank
All
you,
the
sir.
best
Thank
to
you so
you.
much. Thank you, sir.
You.